Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into something really cool, a new idea that could totally reshape how we think about AI. We're going to move past the simple one-off answers we're used to and explore an AI that can actually think, one that can reflect and change and evolve its ideas, kind of like we do. Let's get into it. So first things first, let's talk about where we are right now. Most of the large language models you and I use are designed to be incredibly fast. You give them a prompt, they do a single straight line calculation, and boom, out comes a nice polished answer. But that one-shot approach has some real limits, mostly because real thinking is, well, it's never a straight line, is it? And that really brings us to the big question here. Can an AI actually change its mind? Can we teach it to look at its own first draft, see the flaws, and then improve it? That's the huge leap we're going to explore. This comparison really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the standard AI. It gives you one answer, and that's it. It's static. But on the other side, you have the human brain, which is messy, right? It's iterative. We rethink things, we second-guess ourselves, we polish our ideas over time. So how in the world do we get a machine to do that? Well, the secret sauce seems to be this idea called recurrent processing. It's a game changer. Instead of that single, straight shot, we introduce feedback loops. This lets the model literally look at its own work, critique it, and then try again. And with each loop, it gets a little bit better, a little more thoughtful. This is the key to making AI less impulsive and way more deliberative. So how does this whole feedback loop thing actually work under the hood? It's all powered by this amazing creative partnership, what you could call a dynamic duo that sits at the very heart of this new engine of thought. Meet the generator and the reflective compass. Think of the generator as the creative spark. It's the idea factory just churning out that first rough draft. But, and this is crucial, it's not working alone. The reflective compass immediately jumps in. It's the quality guide. It looks at that draft and asks, is this any good? Does this make sense? And then it points the way for the next version. And what you get is this incredible purposeful cycle. The generator makes something, the compass checks it, and the whole loop starts over, making the idea better and better each time. This isn't just random repetition. It is a guided, intentional journey toward a much clearer thought. But what's the destination of this journey? Well, it's heading towards something called a point attractor. It sounds technical, but it's just a stable, optimized state where the idea is basically done. It's so coherent and so polished that tweaking it anymore just doesn't really help. It's hit its peak. Okay, so how does the system even get good enough to do that? Before it can start tackling really big, complex ideas, it first has to master some basic cognitive loops. You can honestly think of it like climbing a ladder, building a more sophisticated way of thinking one rung at a time. It all starts right here, at the bottom, with basic cognition. This is just that initial, raw spark of an idea. The generator spits something out based on all the patterns it's learned. It's the most fundamental building block of the whole process. So what's next? The AI needs executive functions. This is where the organizer comes in. The reflective compass takes that raw idea, starts to structure it, filters out all the useless noise, and makes sure it flows like a coherent story. It's what brings order to that initial burst of chaos. Now, this next step up is where it gets really interesting. We get to metacognition, which is literally thinking about thinking. The system isn't just generating content anymore. It's actively reflecting on its own reasoning. It's asking itself, wait, is my logic actually sound here? Where could I do better? This is a massive leap because it's the beginning of self-awareness in the AI's thought process. And believe it or not, it goes even deeper. With meta-metacognition, the system starts to refine its own ability to reflect. The compass is basically teaching itself how to be a better, more effective critic. In other words, the AI is learning how to learn better, which just speeds up every other improvement down the line. And finally, at the top of this foundational ladder, we have modeling minds. This is incredible. The system actually tries to see its own work through someone else's eyes. It simulates how, say, a beginner might see it, or how an expert might, or even a skeptic. This is the absolute key to real communication. It's not just about being correct, it's about being understood. All right, so once those foundational skills are locked in, the system is ready for something way more powerful and abstract: world simulation. And to really wrap our heads around this, it helps to borrow a pretty mind-bending concept from theoretical physics. Yeah, this is where it starts to feel like science fiction. In these higher dimensions of thought, the AI isn't just polishing a single idea anymore. It's simulating entire worlds of possibility, exploring all these branching timelines and alternate futures. You know, the perfect analogy for this is Doctor Strange in the movies, where he looks into millions of possible futures to find the one winning path. The AI is doing something uncannily similar, mapping out these huge decision trees to figure out the most promising way forward. It's wild. And at the very, very top, you have the grand finale. This is where all the insights from every layer, from every single simulated future, all get synthesized into one cohesive, deeply considered vision. It's the ultimate endpoint of the entire journey. Okay, I know. That was a lot of pretty abstract stuff. So let's make it real. Let's walk through a simple, concrete example to see how this journey from a basic spark to a brilliant idea actually works. Let's pretend we ask the AI to explain gravity. So the generator's first pass, just using that basic cognition, is super simple. Gravity pulls things down. I mean, it's not wrong, but it's not great either. Okay, but after cycling through those foundational loops, organizing the thought, reflecting on it, thinking about the audience, the answer gets way more precise. Gravity is a force pulling objects together. Much better. More accurate, but still a little dry. But then, after ascending into those higher dimensions, after exploring different analogies and possibilities, the final output becomes something else entirely. It's richer. Gravity is like an invisible rope tugging everything toward Earth's center. See? It uses creative imagery, it's way more relatable, and it just shows a much, much deeper level of understanding. So, why does any of this matter? What's the big deal? Well, this isn't just some cool technical trick. This could really be the dawn of a completely new kind of AI. One that's more thoughtful, more adaptive, and honestly, more collaborative. The implications are just huge. I mean, imagine having a real conversation with an AI that actually evolves and builds on what you said. Or picture a creative partner that helps you take a rough idea and mature it through careful exploration. This whole approach could let us tackle incredibly complex problems in a much more systematic, step-by-step way. And that really leaves us with one final, pretty mind-blowing thought to chew on. For decades, we've been building AI that can find answers in the blink of an eye. But what happens when we finally build an AI that can also pause, reconsider, and truly reflect? The possibilities there are just beginning to open up.